Welcome aboard the Wedding Empires podcast with yours truly, Jack Bowie, where we plunge into the depths of creativity, entrepreneurship, and the love-infused world of weddings. Each episode, we're going to unpack strategies, insights, and stories that empower you to craft the wedding business of your dreams. Welcome to the Wedding Empires podcast.
Today, we're going to embark on something that's super important for wedding professionals, which is mastering your local market and making connections from a local level. So, Ben.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good.
How are you, Madelyn?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
We're really excited to have this chat with you today. I think that a lot of people can kind of feel like they start a wedding business, they're on Instagram, that's all they need to do, and the people will come. And that's not really how it works, right?
Right. No, yeah, there's a lot more than that for sure.
A marketing expert, you do coaching, you work with businesses in, various capacities. But one thing that you really niche down on is mastering this kind of local connections and local marketing. So I guess, can you explain to us kind of how you've ended up, specializing in that area?
Yes, for sure. So it was actually kind of an accident. I never really planned on being in this area, much less being in marketing. But in college, I had an internship and it was with a marketing department. And I just thought it was so interesting. I loved it. I loved learning about businesses and how to promote them. And at the time, I also had a side hustle as a social media manager. And then after graduating, I decided to actually continue that and worked several part-time jobs over the next few years, just so I could continue to work on that business on the side. And actually, one of the part-time jobs that I had was in a brick and mortar business. It was a bookstore, actually, which was really fun. So I was able to learn a lot. And eventually, I was able to go full-time with my own business. I found that I really enjoyed working with brick and mortar businesses because there was just so much to do within the community, marketing-wise. And then this was the key. I listened to what my clients wanted, and they didn't just want help with their social media. Like you said earlier, it goes beyond Instagram. So I started helping them with general marketing and creating and implementing a marketing strategy that worked for their business and that was custom to them. So I became a marketing strategist, and here we are.
So when you're building a marketing strategy for a business like that, and obviously we're all about wedding businesses, so say it's a local florist or something like that, what from a local perspective are some things that we'd expect to see in a marketing strategy for a business like that?
The first thing that we do when we're creating a marketing strategy is I ask them about their goals. I get them to define kind of where they want to be, in a few months, a year, a few years, and take that and we start making like a roadmap to get there. So I always tell my clients that local marketing and creating lasting connections isn't just about your products or services. It's about how your business becomes an important part of the lives around you. It's definitely not a one size fits all type thing. No matter the business, you should make your clients feel like they're the hero and show them that they're special and belong with you. And again, that goes for any business. And so one thing that we do when we're making their strategy is I sit down and I tell them, okay, so think of 15 different ways that you can show up in your community, whether that's something big or something small, and just write them all down. And obviously, of course, I'm going to tell them to just pick a couple of those things because I don't want to overwhelm them and burn them out. But it's really good to come up with a bunch of ideas for them to choose from or even have for later. Go into your florist example. One thing that they could do in their strategy, and that would impact their local community, is hosting a class or a workshop where they teach people how to arrange flowers so they can collaborate and even reach out to a local wedding venue and just say, hey, can I host this event here? I think it would be beneficial for both of us and just really impact the community, get our names out, that type of thing. If you're a photographer, you can host a quick pop-up in the park for engaged couples. You could, tell them that you will offer a discount or a bonus if they hire you to shoot their wedding. So whatever it is, it's just, and we talk about this a lot, my clients and I, it's just following up with these people who could be clients for them. And it's showing them how they can work with them further. So it's only the first step, the engagement session or the pop-up with the florist, but you can offer them a lot more support. And one thing I also tell them is just going to take some time to build those relationships in the community, but the results will be worth it. You just have to be consistent and provide excellent service.
Yeah.
I like that term, pop up in the park.
Oh, yeah. We're going to steal it now.
I think if I did that, I might get arrested. So probably won't try that. But that kind of leads on to one of the questions that I had for you was like, what strategies do you recommend for increasing the business's visibility, like in your local community? And you touched on a bit of that just before. So
kind of going along with that, I think referral programs and loyalty programs are a great way to do that. And a lot of times that gets a bad connotation. I mean, you hear that and you're like, ugh, it's a huge deal, especially in your community, because who are you going to trust? Your friends and your family, or just, a random ad that you see on Instagram or Facebook. And while those have their place, it's much more impactful when, it's coming from a person that they know. So I tell my clients, when you're making a referral program, it doesn't have to be difficult or hard. You just need to figure out what it looks like. So is that giving 10% off their next purchase for referring a friend, or maybe it's giving away a free gift? It just has to be something valuable for them. And then turn your customers into your cheerleaders. So just show them how much they mean to you, and then tell them about this referral program. They're going to be excited to talk about it. If your services or products help people, then they're going to want to tell their friends and their family about it. So that is one of the biggest things, that'll help you with your visibility in the local community.
Through people's bellies.
What do you mean?
I've got a referral program that if a previous couple refer another couple to me and they actually book in and I shoot the wedding, I send them out to one of the local restaurants here that's a really nice restaurant for $100 dinner.
Oh, my God, I love that.
Through the belly.
That.
It's the way to go.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
When I bought my business, I bought a wedding planning business and I rebranded it and grew it and all the rest of it. But I moved to a new area, bought an existing wedding planning business, did not know any vendors at all, and really didn't have a massive budget at that time because I just bought a business. And I really relied on this local approach. Like the first place I went was around the corner where there was a florist near my house, and said, "Hi, I'm a new wedding planner. I love what you're doing and I'd love to promote your, working with you. So do you have any flyers or brochures or wedding packs that you could give me?" So I started promoting this guy. I hadn't worked with him, but, it was like my first step. And then I started going every Saturday to wineries, and I'd go with my husband and my kids, and I would, get a cheese board and a bottle of wine or whatever.
Awesome tax write-off.
I know. But I'd be like, by the way, is the event manager here? And I would just introduce myself in person, and I'd do something similar and say, "I'm a new wedding planner. I'd love to take your function packs or your event wedding packs and pop them inside something for my clients." And just by doing that, I made these connections, and people remembered me because I was there in person and we had this personal connection. The amount of vendors that send an email to these other vendors and that's it, like that's their intro. I just think as soon as you turn up in person and you make that personal connection, then you're leaps ahead, right? Do you agree?
Oh, 100%. Personal connection is key. So just however you can make them feel special and feel like they belong with you, that will take you so far in marketing.
Yeah. And being helpful, going in there and not asking for something from them in terms, can you refer me? But going in and offering to be helpful, I think that goes a long way.
I've found rocking up with a box of cupcakes always goes well too.
Oh,
I've done that before.
Really?
Yeah,
for sure. Who is this guy?
Yeah, I know. I should be a lot bigger than I am, like cake and cupcakes and anyway.
Yeah, wow. I love that. Another cool little thing. I know we're supposed to be asking you questions and we're telling you what we do, but something that I used to love to do after every wedding was to leave a Google local review for every single vendor that I worked with as well. I think that's a really important thing to do. Is that's great. We send them an email and say, "Lovely meeting you, and let's do it again." But go and put a nice review. Help their business with backing up their local reviews.
Madelyn, would you agree that asking for those reviews is pretty crucial? Because from experience, no one's going to walk the land sprouting you and telling everyone about you unless you ask them. So,
oh, for sure, 100%. It's like you said, no one's just going to think about it. So I always, encourage my clients to prompt their clients also to leave those reviews just so other people know about them.
If you don't ask every single person for a testimonial or a review, you're only going to get bad ones, right? It's true. It's actually true. You need to ask people. Because if you don't, you'll just get 5 bad reviews because they're more motivated to leave a review like that than they are to go to the effort of doing a positive one.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So building local connections, I think it's worthwhile talking about sort of networking as well, like going to networking events. And I don't know if you've got in the States, there's things like BNI. Do you have things like that over there?
We don't. I mean, we have networking events, but we don't have that, I don't think.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's quite common to go to a Chamber of Commerce event or, a local women in business event or something like that. But there's also online systems like we have in Australia. There's something called BNI where they choose one person from each industry in the local area. So there'll be one lawyer, one architect, one wedding planner, one travel agent, and they meet I think once a week, and they try to refer each other business at every opportunity. They try to refer each other business. So there's some interesting things out there that aren't necessarily you've got to go and bring your business cards and do it that way. There's lots of different options out there for building connections in your local area as well and putting yourself out there a little bit more. So have you got any ideas, I guess, around any other way that people could build more local connections?
I always tell people that collaboration is so important. And we talked about this a little bit a minute ago, but people get scared when they have to collaborate with somebody else because what if they get all the spotlight? What if, they get more business than I do? But it actually goes hand in hand because more people just might resonate with their business. And another thing that you could do, you said going out and putting up flyers. I think honestly, that's not a bad idea if you just are intentional about where you put. And I think intentionality is the key for good marketing. Go, like you said, to networking events, be present on social media, join local Facebook groups, attend as many community events as you can, and focus on creating connections with others. You don't have to go thinking, I have to tell everybody about my service. Be interested in what they have to say. Interested people make interesting people is something that I've heard a lot.
For someone like me who is fantastic in this scenario,
I'll be the judge of that.
And I'm out. So someone like me who is great with a camera, who feels confident when I'm shooting a wedding and that sort of stuff, when it comes to like a networking thing, I'm just like, give me a gin and tonic or a vodka or a martini or something, and I'm just going to go and stand in the corner because that's not something that I feel comfortable with.
Right.
Have you got any advice for people that maybe feel that way in those situations? Because that's a really big thing, I think, for a lot of people.
Yes. So I am a huge introvert. Networking events are so outside of my comfort zone, and it took me a long time to feel comfortable even going to one. So I totally understand where you're coming from. One thing that I do before every networking event, and I try to go to one about once or twice a month at least, but I set little goals in my head. So I tell myself, okay, if I can talk to 5 people, just go up, introduce myself, ask them, what they do, what their business is. If I can talk to 5 people, then I can go and get a cup of coffee and just chill in the corner for a minute, hide. But that just kind of helps me have a plan and not feel so overwhelmed. Another thing that I have heard and that I have done that I also tell my clients is to wear a statement piece. Now, I know you're going to laugh, but it works.
I've got lots of those.
Well, there you go. Whether it's, in my case, I usually try to wear a fun headband or some fun earrings. I know people who wear a sequins jacket, but it gets the conversation going, and people ask them, where did you get, your earrings? And then it just kind of starts the conversation. It's not so scary, I guess, that way. And then really another piece of advice I have for networking events, it's really important to go to those, but I would say it's just as important to follow up with the people that you meet at those networking events. So reaching out saying, I enjoyed meeting you. I loved your business. If there's something that you can help with, now is the perfect time to tell them about it. I like to, after I talk to people, I'll just like make a little note in my phone. Oh, so-and-so is expecting a baby in 3 months. Check in with her. Or, this person is opening a new business branch, like downtown, stuff like that. And just making those follow-up emails more personable and more special, I guess. So, but no, I totally understand about the networking event.
Years ago, I founded a women's professional network called Business in Heels, and it had 55 franchises around the world, which every single one had monthly women's professional network events. So I know a thing or two about professional networking events, but the whole reason that business did well was because I took the structure and the formality out of it. I had this idea that women in particular are natural-born networkers. If we put them in a fabulous space and we give them champagne and excellent goodie bags and we make more of the effort about attracting the right women, so it's a room full of interesting women with a couple of champagnes, we don't need to orchestrate it. It's just going to happen, right? But why that did well, and I think something to consider, is they're not all structured and boring and you're standing around looking at each other with tall tables. And like, there are cool ones out there. So I think if you dig a little bit deeper, you might find your vibe, you might find your people, and it might be in person, it might be online, it might be on Meetup, it might be I think especially with the wedding industry, like, we might connect with a certain sort of niche or age group that, the local chamber of commerce isn't the right fit for us. But I think it's important to note that they're not all the same, and you can go out there and you can find your networking vibe and your tribe. And I don't know, I just thought that was important
in the wedding industry. There's no shortage of those networking events.
No, there's not.
Yeah, there's one here tomorrow. So,
do you want to go? That's the other thing, right? Bring a friend.
Yes.
Right? Sure. I don't shut up. So I'm the perfect wing woman for these kind of events.
You need to come to my networking events, then you can be my wing woman.
I'm like, hi, who are you? What do you do?
There we go.
Oh, cool. This is Ben. He's an amazing, just bring that person with you.
Exactly.
I'll bring you. Yeah.
What about community impact, right? There's lots of opportunities to kind of build connections in a way, like sponsoring local community sports or, getting involved in your community and taking part in things that are important to the community. Have you got any advice sort of around that sort of approach?
So I am really involved in my city, and they are always putting on events. I mean, it seems like there's something every single weekend. A lot of the small businesses that I work with, they don't go to every event, but they go to as many as possible. There was a farmer's market over the weekend, and so a lot of them just went and they mingled in the community. They set up a table close by and just, kind of told people what they did. At Christmas, there's something called a Downtown Dickens Christmas. It is the most magical thing. It's like Victorian. I mean, it's amazing. And it's totally volunteer. These businesses don't have to participate, but they go all out. I mean, they dress up, in Charles Dickens era clothes. They, offer discounts to customers. They even offer free food a lot of times. And it's just going, not even, just participating, but it's going all in as much as they can and just showing the community, hey, we have a awesome business. We want to support you. We want to support this town. So I think just putting yourself out there as much as you can and saying yes to as many events as possible is really important.
I love that. I'm a saying yes person, definitely.
She said yes to have me here. So.
I know. No, that was a bit of a risk, but
Wow.
Ben, you're great. All right. You're still here.
Got to get it together.
So I'd like to to know, I guess, how, if I'm a little local business, like say it's a florist or whatever, how do I identify the businesses that I want to connect with and kind of cultivate relationships with those businesses that I want to make those connections with?
I'd first start by observing others and seeing how a partnership can kind of be beneficial for both of you. You know, going back to the florist, if a florist and a wedding planner, you know, they have a similar audience, but they both offer something different in value. So that kind of partnership would be extremely valuable to them and also to their audience. You know, maybe they just offer, you know, referrals, or maybe they put on a pop-up in the park, like we talked about earlier.
So you're so going to steal that.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to steal it too. So another option is just to reach out to someone who you admire and, you know, ask them if you can share about their products or service online or in person, and then ask if they would do the same. It's so much better to cultivate partnerships when you focus on how you can serve your audience instead of making it all about, you know, me. I always say, make your audience your hero. And again, don't be afraid to like step outside of your comfort zone and introduce yourself to other businesses. So that's where it starts for sure.
I think it's important to also realize in the wedding piece where you are in the order of making decisions for the couple. Because for me as a wedding planner, they're usually deciding on the venue and then me. So if I've connected with a lot of venues and the venue, you know, I've gone in there and I've met them in person or whatever, and I'm top of mind, and they say, go with this Jack girl, she's amazing, blah, 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 blah. They're just going to do it 9 times out of 10, right? They're not going to look around. So if you're strategic about at what point are they choosing the photographer or the wedding planner or, you know, the venue or whatever, and you can make connections with the people that are before that, I think that's something that you should definitely prioritize, I think.
Absolutely.
In making connections, that kind of leads me into my next question for you in regard to making connections and competition, I guess, to a degree. Mm-hmm. In the wedding industry, there's a lot of competition, and unfortunately it kind of breaks my heart because I hate seeing competition between vendors of the same genre. So which kind of takes us to the infinite versus the finite kind of game, I guess, in terms of, you know, who we are in our businesses and that sort of stuff. So have you got any advice for wedding professionals around being an infinite player and seeing the competition as themselves in the mirror as opposed to the other people around them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there are so many feelings of competition or inadequacy with others, and it's a really tough thing to overcome. But everyone has something to offer. So, you know, 2 photographers are not going to have the same style of pictures. Even wedding planners, they're not going to, you know, have a similar, or they're not going to be exact in how they work with you. So one thing that I would also advise, besides, you know, stop comparing yourself to others, is just learning from others also. So I think it's, even if you're in the same business as another person, just ask them to get a cup of coffee with you. And you might be surprised at how encouraging it is and how much you enjoy it. But just when you stop comparing yourself to others, you're able to get out of your own way and show your clients what makes you uniquely special. Don't worry what, you know, this other person is doing. Just, I mean, seriously, every single day, like, ask yourself, how can I serve my clients in the best way possible? What can I offer them that, you know, maybe somebody else doesn't? How can I make this experience, you know, personal and special to them? So just, you know, focusing more on what's in front of you and then learning from others instead of viewing them as the competition.
That's speaking from the heart and very honestly to everyone that's watching. That's something that I've struggled with for pretty much all of my career, and I will still go to weddings and have that imposter syndrome and still, you know, given as far as I've come, I'll still go, am I good enough? Like, am I going to be able to produce something that is amazing for this couple? Like, I don't think that potentially that's something that we ever as creatives master, I don't think. So, yeah.
Oh, Ben.
Oh.
We need to go to therapy after this.
But for anyone that feels that, you're not alone. Like it's something that every wedding professional, I think, feels, and any creative, I think, feels. So if you're feeling that, don't think it's bad. Just look in the mirror and go, right, I can do this, and go out and shine. Yeah,
I agree. And I think it's helpful to talk to other people, like you just shared, knowing that other people struggle. It's not just you, and you're not alone in it. But it is something, you can encourage other people with. So I like that.
If you're in the business of making dreams come true, listen up, because the Wedding Academy is your ticket to success. Running a wedding business isn't always a walk down the aisle. It takes skill, savvy, and a whole lot of know-how. That's where the Wedding Academy swoops in to save the day. Imagine easy-to-follow certificate courses taught by industry pros, covering everything from wedding styling to floral design to even marketing and business for any kind of wedding business. All Wedding Academy courses are 100% online, self-paced, and come with ongoing training and support to keep you up to date. And here's the cherry on top. I've wrangled up an exclusive deal. Just punch in the code PODCAST when you enroll, and bam, you'll score a sweet 5% off any course. Ready to take your wedding business to the next level? Then head on over to the Wedding Academy today at weddingacademyglobal.com. Don't forget to plug in that code PODCAST to check out with your special discount.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the follow-up. So you've gone to a networking event, or you've gone to a wedding and you've connected with someone. It's so important, that follow-up piece, right?
Right.
To whether it's you've come home and all the business cards have fallen out of your handbag from Business in Heels, which is what it used to be like for me. You have to make that effort for me, it was go and find them on LinkedIn. I love that because it just backs up who you are straight away.
I need to do that.
I get on LinkedIn, look them up, and that's why I've got like 29,000 connections on LinkedIn. Insane.
I look like I've got no friends at all on LinkedIn.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
anyway.
Moving on. But that follow-up piece, right, is so important, and it's important. The timing, like you've got to get onto that in the days that follow. Send them that email, especially if that's somebody that you're like, oh my God, I met this, I don't know, caterer, and like or this celebrant. And that's happened to me a few times where I've gone to wedding specific networking events and I've heard a celebrant speak, never worked with her, never done a wedding with her, but I referred her because I just loved her vibe. And after that event, I met couples that I thought they would love. Jessie Bell, her name was Jessie Bell. She was just so funky and fun, and how she looked.
Shout out to Jessie Bell.
Shout out to Jessie Bell. But like, I referred her so many times without ever doing a wedding, just based off how she came across at this networking event that I went to. But my point was, it's just so important to follow up and really solidify those connections and refer business to them and pay it forward, so to speak. Not great to meet you, Ben, at that networking event. Can you please send some business my way? Like, that's going to go down like a lead balloon, right? But
what's the best way to structure that little connection afterwards?
So I actually really love sending voice messages. I usually am able to find them on Instagram, and I just think a voice message is so personal, and it just helps people get to know you even better. I like to start off with something that I learned about them. So again, going back to that earlier example, if I know that someone is, has mentioned something to me that's going on in their life, like maybe they just or maybe they were going on a trip and it's a week after the networking event, and I send them a voice message and I say, hey, hope you enjoyed your trip to, Hawaii. It was great meeting you at the networking event. I loved learning about you. And then if there is something that you can offer of value to them, that is what I would say first. So just trying to share something that will benefit them. And then, eventually when you build that connection, you can ask them about, if they're interested in your services. If they haven't already, a lot of times they're already interested in, what you have to offer, how you can help them. But yeah, voice messages, those are awesome. I definitely would recommend those.
I never thought to do that.
Mhm.
That's cool.
You do with me all the time.
Yeah, but I know you. We're talking about people that I just met. My son would say, yeah, she does it all the time. Yeah. All right. My last question is around productivity. So say you're a one-woman show. Let's go back to the florist example, and you're too bloody busy. You're doing weddings every week. You're meeting clients and ordering flowers and doing all the things that you do. And you're doing your Facebook and your Instagram and your email marketing and everything yourself. How do you make room and kind of, I guess, fit this into your regular routine? You said to me earlier that you try to go once a month to a networking event. Like, have you got tips around that and how someone can kind of slot this into their current routine?
Yes, for sure. I love talking about productivity. I know I annoy people because I just think it's so fun, honestly. And I think for marketing, you have to, there's so much going on. You have to be intentional about how you spend your time. So my productivity tips, they might sound basic at first, but bear with me. They have been instrumental in my success. So first of all, I have a really good planner and I use it every single day. And I make sure to look at it, first thing in the morning and then throughout the day. Every Sunday afternoon, I plan out my week. So I know some people who do this on Friday afternoons or even Saturday mornings. But for me, typically Sunday afternoons are the best. And I plan out my week, go through, and I write out all of my sort of non-negotiable things that I can't move around. So these would be things like doctor's appointments, meetings, a family member's birthday, a trip, that sort of things that are kind of set in stone that I can't move. And then after I do that, I list the top 3 things that I have to get accomplished that week and get them scheduled on my calendar. So maybe, it's meeting with a big client, prepping for that meeting. That could be thing number 1. The second thing is record, a new podcast episode. The third thing could be, if I was a photographer, editing pictures for, this client. So after I list those 3 items, I go through and I write out all my other tasks, things that I want to get done throughout the week, but they might not be quite as important as those non-negotiables or other things that I listed earlier. So putting it in my planner like that helps me focus on my priorities and really get things done, and see, what things are most important. And then another thing kind of going along with that is having theme days. So a lot of times I'm a little ADD. So a lot of times going from task to task is not the best thing for me. So I structure my days around, similar tasks. So Mondays might be my meeting days. So I only, take Zoom calls or meet with local businesses or have phone calls, that sort of thing. Tuesdays, I might, do client work. So I just exclusively, prep for that and help them, help my clients. Wednesdays, maybe it's my content days. So social media posts, batch creating those, writing an email for email marketing, making a podcast, things like that. So having theme days has really helped me, and it helps me know what to expect, from day to day. So
I need to do that.
What planner do you use?
I use the Full Focus planner. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. And you can habit track. It's my favorite.
Cool.
So, Madelyn, you are the very first person to pioneer our new little segment, which is Ben's regular guest question.
Ooh, yay.
So we're going to ask a regular guest question to all our guests. You're the pioneer. So if you walked outside right now and saw an 18-year-old version of yourself, what advice would you give yourself knowing what you know now?
Ooh,
in terms of business and life?
She's going to reply and say, I'm 18.
No, I'm not. No, that's been a while. No, that's a really good question. That's a great question. I would tell my 18-year-old self that her life looks absolutely nothing like she thought it would. I would tell her that she feels, confused and like she doesn't know what she's doing right now, but that's okay. And then I would also tell her to learn as much as she can about, really anything, but especially business. Say yes to new opportunities, push yourself out of your comfort zone again and again and again, and make yourself uncomfortable, because that's how you grow and that's how you learn. So I would love to tell her that.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much for that. So guys, if anyone wants a free marketing audit for Wedding Empires Pro members, just have a look at madelynvictoriaco.com, and her Instagram is also madelynvictoriaco.
I think it's important to mention Madelyn's offering this free audit, and what it is basically an assessment of your business and your online presence and whatnot, and giving you free advice on things that you could do to improve, I guess, the generation of leads and business. Really, am I correct?
That's right. Yeah. And just DM me local master marketing on Instagram, and I will give you your free audit.
Amazing.
I'll call you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thanks so much, Madelyn. We enjoyed having you here, and I'm sure we'll get you back in the future. For those of you who've joined us live, thank you so much. Love your comments. Lee, I did see that you're calling on Ben now to turn up tomorrow to networking. So
I've been called out, yes.
I might have to go and be his wing woman. But for everyone else, please go and start your free 7-day trial at pro.weddingempires.com, because we have events like this, but we also have a stack of other free training events for your wedding business in there. And we have literally hundreds of templates to help you with your wedding business. So you can find Ben and I on Instagram and TikTok. Our username is Wedding Empires Podcast. Yes, see you there.
This episode of Wedding Empires is brought to you by the Wedding Academy, where you can start and grow your wedding business. We offer certificate courses, group coaching programs, and a whole heap of templates and worksheets and things to help you get started and grow your wedding business. For more information, visit weddingacademyglobal.com. And don't forget to use your 5% discount code PODCAST when checking out.